everybody, welcome back to the Jack Chapple Show, and this is the stock market weekly recap where we just talk about what happened in the business world and in the stock market world in the past week. Largely stuff that I covered early on in the week. So anyways, what happened this week? Just in general, some of the sectors that were up. Oil had a really good week this week, went up pretty much essentially every single day. Tech had two very bad days where they went down about 1 to 2%. Tech had a bad week, and financials had a good week, and all the other sectors were kind of up and down, so they were really hard to tell. They were essentially neutral. But those were the big sectors that most people care about. So what were some of the big stories that came out this week? So early on in the week, remember this, we had Avis. We had Avis Budget Group. So most of you don't really know who that is. That's okay. But they signed a deal with Google, more specifically Google's self-driving car branch called Waymo. And so what the deal was is that this Avis Budget Group will service 600 self-driving Google cars over the next 2 years or so. So they'll do things like oil changes, storing them, fixing them up, and so on, making sure that they fix all of the wear and tear that happens to the cars. And so Avis had a pretty good day early on in the week. My personal own opinion on that was that it wouldn't really affect the bottom line too much because it's 600 cars. They're only servicing 600 cars. Yeah, sure, it's for the entire year, so it still could be worth, millions, tens of millions of dollars, but we're talking about a company, I believe that this was in the billions of dollars, so it won't affect their bottom line too much. However, why the stock went up so much earlier in the week was because of the promise. That Google can partner with this Avis Budget Group. So they're also, Avis Budget Group, they are also one of the largest rental car companies in the entire world, actually. And so they have spots essentially all across North America. So if Google wanted to use them as a partner, if Google wanted to expand into New York and LA and so on, Avis would be willing to do it. They could do it, theoretically, and service all of Google's, potentially tens of thousands of cars in the next few years, hundreds of thousands in the next decade, and so on. And so that's why the stock went up earlier in this week. It's because of the promise that came with the Google deal. Anyways, we're going to move on here to the next story. I believe that this was either on Monday or Tuesday. It still might have been Monday as well. Takata Bankruptcy. So this is one of the biggest bankruptcies ever. It was the biggest one in the history of Japan, I believe, but this is one of the biggest ones in the history of the world. And so what happened was they were actually an airbag company. They still are an airbag company, but they're just, they're tanking right now. And so what happened was that they allegedly have been covering up faulty airbags over the past few years. And so what happened was actually about a year or two ago, everyone started making these connections. Like, what did all these accidents have in common? There was actually 17 deaths and 100 injuries that theoretically should not have happened if the airbag wasn't faulty. And so they started putting it together. Oh, they're all made by the same manufacturer, Takata. And so there was a bunch of lawsuits that have come out, and apparently the reason why the bags were faulty was because the propellant in the airbag was actually causing metal projectiles to fly in the face and in the neck and in the chest of the people that were in the car, that were driving the car, that were in the car crash. And so it actually made accidents more deadly because people, instead of hitting a bag of air, they were hitting metal, which was very unfortunate. So they could have solved this problem early on, theoretically, if they recalled a few million airbags, a few million cars, and they would have been done with, and they would have been a good company right now. They would have been just fine. However, they were forced to recall 100 million cars this week, or I guess it was last week technically. 100 million cars, and they filed for bankruptcy. This is a multi-billion-dollar company. I believe that they were worth tens of billions of dollars at the time of this bankruptcy. And so what they're forced to do now is that they announced that they're selling all of their assets. $1.59 billion in assets are being sold to key safety systems. And so they still have $15 billion in liabilities to cover, and $10 billion is the cost of the recall and all the cover-ups and all the lawsuits and all of that. So they are deeply, deeply, deeply in trouble right now, and their stock took a tank this week. So Takata's bankruptcy was a massive story, largely in Asia. It didn't really quite make it over here, but I felt it was necessary to talk about it because it is such a big company and such a big bankruptcy story. So where do you guys think about that subject, by the way? But I'm usually okay on a lot of things, like I'm fairly conservative on a lot of things, but when someone covers up stuff that could affect someone in a life or death position, that I'm not cool with whatsoever. At all. I do not put up with that whatsoever. I think that Takata should fined extremely. I believe that all of the all the executives that were allegedly involved in this, I believe that they either resigned or were fired or so on, or were fined significant amounts of money. As far as I know, as far as I can remember from this story, but that was a pretty big news story this week. So we're going to move on to the next one here. Oh yeah. The Google trouble. The Google trouble. So I think that this was on Wednesday when it came out that it was announced that Google will be facing a $2.7 billion fine from the European Union, like trades commissions. I guess that, I forget what the specific name is, but whatever that is in Europe, the trades commissions over there. And so this was because they had a 7-year investigation towards Google, which had to do with antitrust policy. So essentially what was happening was that the company was essentially ranking their own products and their own things that they benefited from. Google was in their search engine. They were ranking them higher than their rivals were. All things being equal, they were putting into their algorithm, hey, buy these. For the example that I used earlier in the week was that, like Google phones. If you were to type in smartphone into Google, I don't know if this is the specific case, but if you were to type in smartphone into Google, maybe the Google Pixel comes up first, right? And maybe you have to go to page 4 to find the Samsung, or page 4 to find the iPhone, or page 4 to find whatever other phone out there. That's the example that I was using in the previous video. And so I had a few thoughts on this. Normally, I think that a company, if it's small or medium-sized, should be able to use their own product to benefit their other products. So for example, a small business like me, I use things like my YouTube videos to benefit myself. I can sell stuff through my videos, I can sell programs, affiliate stuff, and so on. So normally that's okay. Even if I were to sell a rival's product through mine, I'm putting that at the very bottom, and that is completely fine. However, when you get to like a monopoly level status like Google is, where they own the entire search engine of the world, except in like China and I think India, they own the search engine of the world, they actually have to obey certain laws, and the algorithm has to be completely unbiased. It has to work for everyone, not just for the Google people. And so I'm really torn on this because I think that businesses should be able to do whatever they want with their product as long as it's not hurting anyone else. And I mean, this is a really gray area because I guess technically it's hurting their rivals, but it's such a gray area for me. I understand where the $2.7 billion fine is coming from. I get it. It's just weird. Where is that line between having to do stuff that's right for, the entire world and doing stuff that's just right for your own company? Is that a $100 million company? What's the line? $1 billion company? A $10 billion company? $100 billion? $500 billion? What is the line before you have to be completely fair and value, all aspects of your business equally to your rivals? And so that's what this is about. So Google stock, it wasn't really good this week. However, a $2.7 billion fine, I think the analogy that I used was that it's like the Social Network. Right? Do you guys remember that movie, The Social Network, the Facebook movie? And they were in this meeting, Mark Zuckerberg and the lawyer or the counselor or whoever, some lady that was sitting in on the meeting. And then she was saying, like, look, just pay this fine of $100 million or whatever. At the end of the day, Facebook is so massive, this is just going to be a little tiny slap on the wrist. It's going to be a speeding ticket, a speed bump for what Facebook is. And it ended up being a speed bump. And that's what this is. $2.7 billion for a company that has profits of, what, 30 billion? Or even probably more than that, actually. Is it 26 or 96? I think that I forget what the number is. I think it's 96 billion in revenue and $26 billion in pure profit. So at the end of the day, this isn't going to affect them too much in the long run, but still saying that $2.6 billion is a lot. So What do you guys think on this whole issue, by the way? What is the line between you being able to benefit from your own successful products and you having to be unbiased? What level do you have to reach? Apparently it's Google's level. So I think that we are going to move on here. Let's see here. The next thing I want to talk about is the tech sell-off. I guess the tech sell-off. So what happened on Thursday, tech sell-off and the financial shift. And so the tech panic, I'll call it. All the overvalued tech stocks from a few weeks ago, they're all still overvalued, but they're all slightly lower, especially the FANG stocks. So remember a few weeks ago, they were all hitting $1,000. Amazon and Google, $1,000. Now they're at like $960 to $970. You know, still fairly overvalued, but still okay. Actually, should we talk about Amazon actually? I think that we should keep it on this first. And so everyone started panicking on Thursday. Everyone's like, oh, is this the end? Or is it, yeah, it was Thursday. Oh, is this the end? Everything's down 2%. Tech is down 2%. I lost so much money. I'm just going to cut my losses. The stock market's going to crash. Everything's terrible. And well, for those people that did, especially on the subreddit, Wall Street Bets, you know, rest in peace to your money, to your cash, to your thousands of dollars that you lost, or hundreds of dollars, however much you invested, because everything tends to rebound. There was a tech sell-off, and the financials did really well this week, actually. Financials picked up. And I guess some other big news that I wanted to talk about today was actually the Warren Buffett news. So Buffett, this was news from Friday. Oh, whoops. Buffett, is that he's? Yeah, that's Buffett, right? Look, that's a terrible E. Oh, now that's, I don't even know what that is. Okay, whatever. Warren Buffett, he essentially made a $12 billion profit because he lended money to Bank of America. In 2011, he lended $5 billion. This is when Bank of America was tanking. They were going through lawsuits. They needed money. And so he invested in them as long as they paid him a 6% dividend. They accepted that offer. And there was another contingency in there, was that the Bank of America, I should say that Warren Buffett had the option in the next however many years to buy X amount of Bank of America stocks for $7.14 per share, which is a little bit more than what it was worth in 2011, I believe. And so 5 years later, or 6 years later, Warren Buffett's like, hey, remember that deal? Yeah, I want to take you up on that. I'd like to buy them for $7.14 a share. And so that's what happened. He became the largest shareholder in the Bank of America. He owns like 17% of the company, or somewhere between 7 and 17%. And his shares are estimated to be worth like $17 billion, but he only paid $5 for them today. So he made essentially a $12 billion, not cash profit, but asset profit in one day. Pretty nice payday, right? It's always nice to have those options available to you when you make a deal. Let's see. The last thing I want to mention here, I guess, is Amazon. We'll go Amazon. Amazon and Nike. So Amazon and Nike. Nike was the biggest winner in any single day, I believe, this week from all the major stocks out there. So what happened was that Nike announced it would start selling its own stuff on Amazon. And so a lot of you are like, oh, wait a second, but I bought some Nike stuff on Amazon like last week or 2 weeks ago. Well, you probably didn't know that it's actually not from Nike, the company. It's from guys like me that make themselves look legit on Amazon. So guys like me, what they will do is they'll buy a pair of Nike sneakers, or, knockoffs, but usually it's real, Nike sneakers for whatever, $100. Okay, buy them for $100 or $90, whatever it may be, and then they'll sell them on Amazon for $150. Now, actually, I think that Amazon has restrictions on shoes, so maybe it's just a Nike shirt, okay? We'll use the Nike shirt example. So you buy them for $25 at your local store and sell them on Amazon for $40, and you make a profit. Well, that's how Nike's been selling on Amazon. And now Nike's saying, wait a second here, why don't we just sell it on Amazon? Our online stuff is working. We need to restructure. We're going to sell some stuff on Amazon now. And so, well, that's what they started doing. Officially starting today, what they're doing is they're restructuring. They are planning on cutting down 1,000 jobs and going to at least reallocate some of those towards online sales, which is a very, very smart strategy. So this is a sign of the global economy. We're going from the bricks and mortar Nike stores, retail stores, department stores to online. Please deliver it to my house kind of stuff. It's funny. I was thinking about this today. Remember when everyone thought that the like postal services were going to go out of business because no one was sending letters anymore or envelopes or anything like that? There was online banking, online emails, messaging, and so on. Well, guess what? They're needed now more than ever. They need to deliver packages simply because of Amazon. I mean, Amazon simply saved the postal business. They saved the postal business. Who would have seen that coming? Unbelievable. And so this is a giant shift. I mean, we're seeing this now. Retail's going out of business. So this is going to hurt things like, now all of a sudden people don't have to go to, Dick's Sporting Goods or National Sports or whatever name store, sports store X to go get Nike stuff. They can just order it online. And people like me, young people like me that don't want to spend an hour and a half driving out to the mall, going through traffic, trying everything on and then coming back, we're going to be ordering it online. We know our shoe size. Most of the time we know what type of shoes we like. And that's it. Same thing with clothing. We know what our shirt size is. We know what type of clothing we like. We're 23 years old, 25 years old, 30 years old. We've been trying on shirts. We've worn Nike shirts for years. Why don't we just order more online? So at the end of the day, I think that this will increase Nike's revenue. My estimates were in the hundreds of millions, maybe tens of millions to hundreds of millions somewhere. It will put a dent into the Nike revenue, but I still think that Nike needs to find something else. I mean, it's really going to be tough to be a clothing brand company these days. I mean, in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s, I mean, you would just watch everything on TV. Nike was on TV all the time, and I remember all of their ads. Now, I don't watch TV anymore. Neither do most millennials. And now, I've never seen a Nike ad. A Nike ad. Where did they all go? They need to rethink their business strategy. I mean, I haven't, apart from investing in Nike a few years ago, which I made a lot of money from, I haven't bought any Nike products. I haven't heard of Nike products. People aren't wearing Nike a lot anymore. It's just branding's a whole different thing now in the online world. And Nike, I think, is starting to realize that they have to adapt, and they are. So good on them. They're restructuring, trying to keep their business profitable, growing. It's not really growing very much though, at all. Is it? I don't think it's growing at all. Is it? I'll have to double check on that. But they're restructuring, so I'm really excited to see what happens, what they do with it, what they do with the online world. Will they go through the social media influencer route? Give people some free stuff. Hey, I'm part of the Nike brand. Go up to CrossFitter X. Be like, hey, wear Nike. We'll give you all of our stuff, but you have to wear it for 1 month straight. All of our stuff. Okay. I mean, that would help more than just putting out an ad onto 4 o'clock on ABC News or whatever. So that's my personal opinion on that. So these are generally the big stories that happened this week. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think? How did you guys do this week? Let me know in the comments below. So for now, if you're interested, check out my stock market program in the link below. It gives you updates on my portfolio, stuff that I'm investing in, stock breakdowns, behind the scenes stuff. So check that out. For now, thank you very much for watching. You're all very beautiful people, and I'll see you guys in the next video.